States, and he's got Heyman! He's got Heyman! Figure four time!
Finally, finally, I finally get to do this. I've been talking NBA, I've been talking NFL, I've been talking baseball, but this channel has not had its debut, and I'm finally here with my boy Tim, who introduced me to his boy Todd. We here now. Welcome to the Figure Four Show. We're about to have a lot to talk about, especially because next week is Crown Jewel. That's what we're gonna go with, fellas. I like what we see on this fight card. You mentioned, Todd, there's a match that I couldn't see. I want you to bring it up so we can start talking because I really do like that matchup as well.
Yeah, the main one I've seen that you missed was the Fatal 4-Way between Rollins, Riddle, Ali, and Elias. For me personally, I hope Rollins obviously retains. I think he's the strongest of the opponents. The other thing I thought was weird is why they even made it a Fatal 4-Way. I think I would have preferred personally just Rollins and Riddle.
Maybe it's just a stack pack. You know, everyone's going to freaking Saudi, so it's like.
No, I think. Well, yeah, two things, right? One, they want to make sure that Saudi get the good major card, get a lot of wrestlers, get to see good matches. The second thing is it's kind of been a build-up between Rollins and Ali. Every week for the last 2-3 weeks now, every time Rollins has a match or is out in the ring, Ali's has attacked it. Like, come out of nowhere, start beating him down. And then the thing between Riddle and Elias is they're friends, but they're not. So, like, there's a weird thing going on there where Elias was also beefing with Rollins. So that's that whole meshing, how it comes into a Fatal 4. I think it's a great card. That's the whole card overall. I think is really good, and I think that match right there is gonna be a really good match too because you're gonna see a lot of different styles get in there. And I think this is, I don't want to say it's coming out part because we got to see a little bit of it while he was playing the Zeke, while he was playing Ezekiel. But I think this could really be the next step for Elias. Where
I'm happy he's back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that match, you have a lot of things that can go well. Like that can steal the show. That's a show stealer right there. That one's gonna be. I hope they're the ones to open up that whole Crown Jewel because that's a good benchmark for the rest of that whole card. Because you know me, Vogt. Because this next one I don't care about as much. But you know I don't like Giants in the first place. So Braun Strowman versus Omos. I think this is I'm gonna take a piss match, right? How do y'all feel about that?
Shout that man out.
Yeah, shout out to Air. But I like Braun Strowman. Don't get me wrong. I like the whole thing, but that's one of those I don't care who wins. I'm not entertained with Giants against Giants. But I want y'all opinions on what y'all think about that one.
I don't think Omos is ready for that high level competition yet. He looks very clunky to me in the ring. So I think Strowman will make him look a little better. But I think it'll be too much for him. I think it'll be too bright a light for him.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Omos. That dude, he's not good, man. He can't talk. He can't even talk on the mic. That's what makes it even worse. Is he's just all around not good. He's just big. He's one of those Vince guys, right? He's one of those Vince guys that he likes to have on the roster. And I think the problem is we really can't throw Braun into anything too crazy right now because of all the other storylines going. You can't leave him off the card.
True.
So they just want to, with the monsters of monsters, like, okay, we got this guy over here who's a monster. Let's see how they clash. Let's just give the fans a little bit. I think the match is going to be bad, though. I mean, Braun is nice in the ring, don't get me wrong, but when you're working with Omos, I feel like it's hard to do anything right. So it's going to be one of those, hey, this is the worst match on the card matches. I hate to say that with Braun involved, but it is what it is.
It is. We're going into this next match, which I love the storyline since he came back. He's a Triple H guy since you want to bring Vince McMahon guys. Karrion Kross in a steel cage with Drew McIntyre. I'm a fan of both. I like both work. I love the character Karrion Kross has with his wife and whatnot. But the steel cage, man, it's a good twist for Saudi Arabia. I don't think they ever had one since they had Crown Jewel. I could be wrong though. But what y'all think about this one?
I think it'll be a good chance for Cross to step up. I think we need to see a little more from him. I like his suplexes and stuff and his submissions, but I want to see some more aggression from him like he did back when he was on NXT. And then him and McIntyre could definitely have a fight. It could definitely be a good fight.
I don't like Cross, right? Okay, I'm not the first time. This is the first time I've said it. I've made it public. I think the problem with Cross is, like Todd said, we get to see a little bit more from him. I'm not an NXT guy, okay? So straight up front, I'm a terrible wrestling fan because I don't watch NXT. I watch anything else but NXT. So I have not gotten to see Cross at that level. I don't know what he's capable of. From what I've seen with his time in WWE on the main roster, there's not much there. I don't like it. Like there isn't there. The strap match was boring to me. That's crazy.
That was horrible.
Because Drew has put on plenty of fights that's been very entertaining. That Cross match, that strap match was terrible. And because of my personal opinion, I'm gonna blame that on Cross. Drew's put on entertaining matches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because Drew's put on entertaining matches for me. You just had a match with Drew who's done it already, and I'm not entertained. That's your fault. And, you didn't carry your load. Which I hope I'm wrong, and they still cage. I get to see his full capabilities, and I hope I get to see him take that next step because obviously, like Oos mentioned, he's a Triple H guy, so he's gonna be in that forefront on the future of the program. So I hope he can convince me to be a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, because I know, like I said, like we're gonna discuss Triple H after this, but he's one of those guys that's gonna get a rocket attached to his ass, and they're gonna just skyrocket him out there. That's where I see him going. This next match, again, I'm a fan of both, but it's like I'm tired of watching this little Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar thing. I mean, I get it, big names going to Saudi, we have to bump up the card. I'm a fan of both. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't know. Like Brock Lesnar needs to just go, man. He's done. Like he's done it all. I don't think there's no other storyline that he needs right now. You know what I mean? Like Bobby Lashley, he does need this because I don't know what's going on. His mic skills. You want to talk about mic skills? His is horrible. Like I don't. He needs MVP back. Something like that. What y'all think about it?
Yeah, Lashley definitely needs a manager. I think it's the fact that he's huge and he's got that little squeaky voice that hurts him to start with. And then this match worries me, honestly, because last time these two went at it, it wasn't really that good. So they need to have more of an MMA-style match maybe for them to be able to make it good. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm with you. I think Lesnar's on his way out or should be. So hopefully Lashley gets pushed over and they make it a good match either way.
Yeah, pushover. That's the key for me. I think this whole point of this match was to push Bobby over. I think Brock is at that time in his career where he's okay with helping push younger talent, even though Bobby's not very young, but he's fresh and in the forefront, and he's over right now. People like him. So I think it helps him get that additional push where we get to see Bobby and Roman beef it out one more time. Do I want that? No, in my personal opinion, just because I don't think there's a long-term storytelling there. Even if he was to beat Roman, the next step of the storyline doesn't make sense, so I don't like it. But I think that's what this is, and like you mentioned, Oos, the UFC style, I think the way they're beefing currently allows that, right?
Right.
They're not wrestling right now. They're just beating the hell out of each other. So I think this match is just going to be a wide open two. What did Big E say in that interview a few years ago? Big meat slapping each other. Like, hey, he said some off the wall stuff, and that's what this match is. Two heavyweights just getting at it. So I like it. I agree. I think we haven't made any predictions up to this point, and you just said it. So now it just reminded me.
Oh, let's backtrack then. All right.
We gotta run that back. So the first match, Todd, you said you want to retain.
I want him to retain too. I think he's good. He's perfect for the middle card.
You two want him to retain. I actually like to see the step forward and let Riddle hold the belt. I think he deserves gold. I think Rollins is just fine without it. So we've been too long in this thing with Riddle chasing after titles and he's not getting anything and he just keeps chasing. I think it's time to let him hold it, get a beat, and go ahead.
So what if Riddle wins the title and then Randy comes out and RKO's him and we go from there?
That's cool, but my thing with Randy is it's already been public knowledge that there's no return date near. Yeah. They don't know.
It doesn't look good for him either.
And my second thing is, so you weren't here with the OG cast. The OG cast, I made it very clear. I think Randy should be the guy who beats Roman and kills the bloodline. Because what is that man? He's the legend killer.
Yeah.
That was my whole persona. So I would hope that if Randy were to come back, that's the angle they push. And we'll touch on it a little bit later when we talk about the bloodline. But I do have a vision for that. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
So, all right, this match, Braun Strowman, Omos. I'm going with Strowman. I'm going with Strowman.
Yeah, there's no way Omos wins. No way.
So that's the thing, right? Is I was just about to say that I'm predicting Braun, but I could definitely see them trying to push Omos over by letting him beat Braun. Which, once again, the storytelling doesn't make sense, so I don't know why you would do that. But I've seen crazier things happen, right? You know.
Right.
I don't think Triple H brings Strowman back to lose to Omos. I don't see that.
I agree.
It sucks that we have to think like that instead of just thinking of their attributes. We're talking about backstage stuff that plays a factor.
I mean, when you deep, you know it's how it works, man.
Yeah, I know. Tell that to Max, he'll get mad. So this next one, Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. I already know Tim is gonna say McIntyre. I'm actually gonna go with Karrion Kross. You guys want to talk about pushovers? I believe this is one of them for him. And I don't know. I like him. So I'm going with him. McIntyre, although I do want him to win because for me his momentum is slowing down. I think Todd, you mentioned that. Like they need him to get back to that star status. Like right now, I just feel like he's what's his name? Damn, I can't even what's his name, bro? The one that wears the Burberry FJM. I couldn't even think of his acronym. He's mid right now. Like that's literally what he's been doing. It's just stay mid. It's like, bro, he's such a great talent. But I got Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I'll actually take Kross here too, but I only will take him because I don't think the feud's over. I think the face will go over at the end, but I think we're gonna eventually see a more edgier version of McIntyre. Even I think he's gonna have to get a little more edgier, and they'll push him over Kross.
Like that. I like that.
I agree. You actually made the joke that I'd pick McIntyre, but I agree. I think the Survivor Series, or whatever they're calling it now, is where we'll see the feud end. So I think one more time, Karrion's wife will help him win, which we're going to see one random female star probably help him out and keep her out of the match, or she'll get caught trying to cheat and get ejected from ringside, and then Drew will get his revenge and actually win. But I agree. I don't think the beef is over. I think they're going to let it play out a little bit more, and I think they let McIntyre win the entire beef, but I think this battle belongs to Kross. I agree.
All right. Same thing with this one as far as the way I'm going to think about it with Lesnar and Lashley. I think Lashley wins. I think he wins a real, like, I don't know if it's going to be bloody, but it's going to be a brawl. And I think Lashley comes out victorious.
Yeah, I agree with the Lashley win. It'd be nice if they'd add the blood back to a point. You don't necessarily need AEW style blood, but add it back a little bit would be nice.
Yeah, I think Lashley gets a push. I think that's what this is. I mean, if you think about it, he lost his title. He never even got a rematch. So we haven't seen that yet. So there's a lot of that back in the background. He's over right now, and he was carrying the United States gold, and he was over. He was actually so far over, they probably should have gave him a push for the main title, but that's neither here nor there. So I think right now this beef with Rock, you let him come out. Oh, the only person we ever seen do this was Roman. Now he's headed for him, you know.
So this next match, I was happy because I'm old school New Japan. The Bullet Club back together, the OC, right? They're going against one of the teams that I absolutely freaking hate, and it got even worse when Dominic got on the team. I'm a big Finn Balor fan. Prince Devitt to the fullest. That is my favorite right now. Like since he came in, right? I just hate Judgment Day. I don't like that whole group. It irritates me. Maybe that's the point of this group is to irritate us, and it's working. But just having Luke Gallows and the Machine Gun Anderson back, I'm happy that they're back. AJ Styles was getting AJ stale, and he needed some type of movement for him to, so he got his brothers back. So I like it. I got OC winning this. Again, I will never pick Judgment Day, even though if it makes sense. I just don't like the scene, period.
I would actually take OC with this too, just because I don't think the Judgment Day is going to last too much longer. Like you said, Finn Balor's good. The other characters they got in that group, I don't like. I've never been a fan of Priest or Dominic Mysterio at all. That kid definitely should have took some time at NXT. And then with the OC, I've always been a big Carl Anderson fan. So hopefully he comes back and him and Luke Gallows look real good. And like you said, definitely agree. AJ's been real stale lately.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go the opposite. I don't like the group, but I think this whole card has felt like a push card. And right now, the way you guys talk about the OC, right? A win over the OC for the Judgment Day would be huge. So they could benefit from beating the OC, and the OC can afford to lose. It doesn't matter. Like,
True.
people are still gonna love them regardless. So I also think too. We know there's a Rhea problem. There hasn't been a female introduced to help, so I think Rhea calls them here in Saudi, and in Survivor Series we actually see a female help OC, and then OC might come over, which neither here nor there. That's something that's way down the line. I'm not really worried about that. But currently, I think the win for Judgment Day makes sense. It helps out for the brand. So as much as the fans hate the crew, I don't know what the faction is all about. Like, I still don't get how they're still a faction when no one likes it. It's just like the maximum models individuals.
Oh
Nobody
my
cares for
gosh.
those. I don't understand why they're still doing that when both those athletes are talented. I don't know what they're wasting their talent with that
No room.
group. I don't just put them in a regular tag team and let them be themselves. Which they're being themselves. I get it, but like, they don't have to go to that type of faction to be able to showcase their abilities. I don't understand it.
And then also there's news on Rhea Ripley that she's been medically cleared to perform again. So I also agree that this might not last long because Rhea Ripley is now gonna be active again, and I need her to break away from this group because she'll do well without them. You know what I mean? Same thing like Priest and Dominic. I'm not a fan as well, but Rhea Ripley, now that she's cleared, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have to have her pushed.
I'm okay with Priest. It's Dominic, man. He's not very smooth in the ring, and his type of style is supposed to be smooth. Like,
Yeah, he's trying
the
to
type
act
of
too much like
wrestling
a
he
dad, and
does.
he doesn't have that.
Yeah, even I don't want to say I agree with him, but he made the comment that he was this generation's Eddie Guerrero, which is absurd.
That pissed
And
me
he even
off.
said that, which is absolutely absurd that Triple H even allowed that to be said on air. But at the same time, when it comes to style, Dominic is more like Eddie than he is Ray. But he's caught in between those two styles, and both those styles are smooth. And Dominic just doesn't have that. So
That
I don't know what they're doing with Dominic. Like, I
To me,
agree.
that's
They need to separate that down in NXT. What's that, Todd?
my bad. To me, that's a perfect example of trying to live in your father's shoes, and his feet's a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? That he can't do the cruiserweight stuff like Ray. It just doesn't work.
Right. I mean, he's got some of his stuff looks okay. It's just I don't think he's worked on the craft enough.
True.
I think he needs to go back to an indie level, an NXT level, and just put work in, and then come back. I think he can reinvent himself and come back just fine. One, because we know the legacy of the Rey Mysterio's family. The legacy is deep. They can. This is what they do. So I don't think that it's unreachable. I just think currently, especially for the role they're trying to push him in, it doesn't make sense. He's not there. He's not at that star level yet. They need to stop it. But either way, I think Judgment Day gets the nod here, and then we'll go forward with the beef.
Yeah, they need to break up. Anyways, let's go. We're going to talk about Hothead Jay and his brother Jimmy going against the Brawling Brutes for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. I don't see why you would break the undisputed titles in Saudi, so they're going to continue on winning this match. I'm a fan. I like the Brawling Brutes. I really like that group, but I don't think they win it here. There's some way, Sammy's gonna get in there, Solo's gonna get there, something's gonna happen where they interfere and get them done, get them the win.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't think the Usos are going to lose yet. I think when the Usos lose, that'll be the part that ends up breaking down the bloodline, but we can talk about that later. Brawling Brutes, I'm a big fan of. I think putting those two young guys with, well, I don't know how old Butch is, formerly known Pete Dunne, which I like him really well in NXT. But he really good with Sheamus. And Rich Holland is good too. And he's a former professional rugby guy. So
Yep.
definitely athletic.
I think you guys are both on the right track. I don't think we see him lose gold. But you mentioned Hothead Jay, and this is, I think they retained by disqualification. I think because Jay's gonna lose his cool, and he gonna get a chair or something and hit one of them fools with it. Like well, maybe right. It just we're gonna touch on the bloodline later, so I don't want to get too in depth into how I feel things are going to start shaping out. So I'll just leave it with I think the Usos retain because once again I think it makes sense. You don't see titles really switch hands over the pond, but at some point we're going to start seeing that, right? I mean, fans are going to start getting upset, like, oh, the titles will never get lost over here. Like, can we get a pop for a new up? Eventually. I don't think it's now though. I just don't think it's now.
What's up, buddy?
The Usos retain.
Yeah, that's how. So Bianca. Oh Lord. What are you doing?
Yeah. So it's a big match. It's a big match. It's a pivotal point for the bloodline and the future of bloodline.
I can't. Hey, we're gonna talk. We definitely gonna talk about the bloodline about that. Let's move forward to this co-main event: Bianca Belair versus Bayley in the last woman standing match for the Raw Women's title. Where y'all going with this? Man, this is tough. This is tough for me. This is probably the toughest decision I have to make. But I honestly think Belair wins it. Something's telling me that Bayley's might win, but I'm going with Belair on this one. Yeah, I just can't pick against her.
I'm actually taking Bayley, but I think this could be match of the night. I definitely think these two ladies will beat the hell out of each other. But I think it's going to come down to Bayley's new group. I think they're going to get involved this time and actually be successful with it. And I think Bayley's going to pull one off.
I'll agree with you. I think Damage Control is going to interfere, but we haven't seen Asuka and we haven't seen Alexa Bliss in a while, and we also haven't seen Becky Lynch. You gotta remember, Becky Lynch hurt her arm, helping Bianca. She hurt her arm. We haven't seen her in a while. I don't know where her recovery is. I try not to get in too deep with those rumors and talks about what's happening because then they spoil stuff for you. I like to be organic with the surprise. So I think I'm stuck, right? Because I agree with Us. I don't want to go against Bianca because I think she's deserving of the title and she needs to hold it.
She's probably the best.
At the same time, Bayley is such a good talent that no one's going to be upset she has to scrap, especially at this heel level that she's on with this group she's got.
Good point.
I don't really like her group. But it makes sense that they all got gold. Like they almost they're not as good as the bloodline, but it makes sense to be on that type of level of our faction is the best faction in women's division. We have all the gold. So I mean it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it could give Saudi Arabia the championship switch that you guys was talking about earlier.
Yeah. I mean I wouldn't like to see it, but I get it.
So I'm not a big fan of Damage Control either, so that's a whole different story. But the main event, I don't know how y'all feel about Logan Paul fighting for the title. I get it. His fans, WWE fans, fused together. That's a lot, right? But your third fight and you're fighting for the Universal title. If you're a hardworking, jobber in the locker room, would you be happy with this? You've been working your ass off this whole time for 20 plus years for a YouTuber to come in and get a freaking title shot on his third wrestling match. I'd be hot. I'd be really mad. But Roman's gonna contain. It's gonna be an entertaining thing. Although I say what I said, Logan Paul really does perform well, and I like his work in the ring. It's just they're gonna have a good match. Logan's gonna try to hit him with that metal knuckles or whatever they said, surgically placed metal in his hand. But Roman's gonna win this. This is not changing right now. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, Roman's definitely winning. To me, honestly, I think it would be better, not as a storyline, obviously, but for Logan Paul to get squashed here. If he actually wants to make WWE a thing, he can go, work his way up like everyone else. I mean, obviously, he gets to skip a couple steps because he is so popular. But in the ring, even, he looks okay to me. It's like when Pat McAfee did it. Yeah. They're smooth. They're athletes. But yeah, Roman Reigns is definitely going to win. There's no chance.
Bro, who the hell likes Logan Paul? Like, I don't get it, bro. Like, who is this man's fans? Like, he gets all these big opportunities because he got such a big following, but who the fuck is following this dude? Like,
The more I see him on stuff, the more I like him.
Like, I don't get it, bro. Like, I agree, he has some good stuff in the ring, but I would say Bad Bunny was better in the ring than Logan is.
Ooh, that's a good debate right there.
I would like to see Bad Bunny in the ring more often. I agree with you. I think it's a slap in the face to the rest of the locker room that just because you're a popular YouTuber, you get to go to not only fight for the championship, but at a major pay-per-view where you're supposed to be representing the best wrestling you have. Like, I don't get it. There's no storyline anyways. It's all BS. It's literally, and you know how I feel about this, it's a money grab.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't stand that in the industry. Like, I understand it's all about making money, but you could do that within the constraints of your industry. You don't need to bring in this. Like, it's different, right? When they brought in Floyd, right, it was different. Floyd was just fighting a random giant. The giant didn't have a title. They weren't fighting for titles. It wasn't legit beef. Like, it doesn't make sense. We are smacking every hard-working man and woman, because whatever you want to say, in that locker room, who's putting on the work every day and making this their craft, helping your industry, and saying we care about money more than we care about your guys' career.
That's basically what it is. Yeah, that's basically what
I really feel about this.
That's a good point.
I get it. You don't want him to fight too many more people because he's already squashed so many. But let's be realistic about it. There's only like 3 or 4 guys on the roster who we ever think could actually beat Roman anyways. So throw one of them mid-jobbers in there who might give him a good fight, like the Riddle thing, right? That was a great fight. That looked really good. I would like to see that right here. I want to. Don't get me wrong, Riddle and Rollins were really good together, but I think I'd rather have seen Roman come over here, smash Riddle one more time, and call it a day. You know, I don't dislike Logan in the ring. I think he is talented enough to make this a full-time thing. But that's the thing. Make it a full-time thing if you're really about it. Otherwise, quit taking away from us fans, because that's all you're doing. We know Roman's going to win. If he doesn't win, you know how, like, even people who hate Roman are going to be like, yo, wrestling's dead. Like, that is dead. Like, come on, bro. You just let that guy bring down the bloodline? Get out of here. Like, that don't even make sense. It don't even make sense. Like, I get it, the one lucky punch, and it's a underdog story, blah, 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 which we will see. We will see Logan land that punch, and Roman will be down for the count, but it's the bloodline. So he'll get his saved, and Logan's like, I only didn't win because the bloodline helped you, blah, 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 which that's what everybody says, right? That's the whole story. So Roman retains. We will get to see Logan have his very close moment, and it was ruined by Solo or Sammy, and they're going to get another match out of Logan because what they say, he signed a 5-match deal. I think that's what his original deal was. So we're going to see more matches. So I think that's how they spin it. Oh, you cost me the titles for Roman. Now me and you are going to beef it out. So
I see it. So there it is. That's Crown Jewel for you. I like to take on what we said on that main event. Let's keep it going. Let's talk the bloodline. Let's talk about how y'all feel about them right now, and how do you see it? Because I love this story that Tim keeps doing. Talk to me, Tim. You go first. How you see this crumbling, and where's the crack start? Which maybe Jay's hothead right now, but yeah, let's discuss about the bloodlines dropping.
Yeah, I think shout out to Sami Zayn, because he is playing the character perfectly.
Well,
he's carrying everything perfectly right now. The crack has already started, right? I just want to say that the crack has already been started with Sami, and I'm gonna go on a rant with you guys, and I don't want to take everything that you guys could say, but it has to be said, right? Sami has already implemented the crack. He's already infiltrated behind enemy lines. He's doing his job very well. He has made the bloodline kind of question each other, who's got who's back and who's actually cool with who. And Jay said it on Friday night. Bye-bye. Sami, you're not blood. That's why I don't like you. You know, that he wants him out of the bloodline. Roman likes Sami because Sami's a no-limit soldier. Sami do anything he can for the tribal chief, and that's what Roman likes. That's why he hasn't got rid of him yet. You remember when the bloodline first started, who did Roman have a beef with who actually is in the blood? Is Jay, right? Roman and Jay actually had a title match, like a legit match.
Yeah.
and he made Jay kneel to him. I'm the tribal chief. We seen a little bit of I'm tired of being your little sidekick when he said he don't give a damn what the tribal chief says.
That was bold.
That was little and subtle, but that's major. That's future down the line issues, right?
Right.
And we talked about, we all agree that the fall will come with the tag team titles being lost first. I think that's sooner than later, and I think that happens once Sammy fully gets Jay all the way against him and is no longer listening to the tribal chief at all. And then that's where we see all that fall, that hot head fall down, which I think that starts with Sammy and Uis. You've said this before, and there's a lot of swirls, and a lot of twirls, but Kevin Owens, I think, is going to be the guy who comes with Sammy and takes the tag titles, because the tag division currently, I don't see it. I don't see anybody currently in the tag division, and we know the end is near, right? Roman was ready for a break 6 months ago. So it's one of those things where it's going to come to an end, not because it needs to, because it's not good enough, because it's still good. They could do this for another year, and I wouldn't be mad.
Right.
I just wouldn't be. But it's one of those things to where the tag titles go first, and I think when you take – because think about it, right? Sammy's a no-limit soldier. He has went beyond and beyond and beyond and have done all these things for Roman. Last week he helped take out Sheamus. The one guy that they wanted to take out that he refused to do was Kevin. And we know, like, they try to spin it back, oh, that's his old buddy. Not really. The last 3 years, Kevin and Sammy hate each other's guts. They beat the hell out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't, like, but there goes a respect thing, right? Which this kind of ties into a little bit of AEW with the Blackpool Combat Club. We spill blood together. I know you're capable. You'll go to battle with me. And I think Sammy and Kevin have recreated that friendship, and this is all part of the ploy. This is all part of the plan. Sammy infiltrate, break it, make them weak. We'll put them down, and then we'll go to that next level and do what we need to do, which I think that's the next level. I think that is what it is. But if for all you fans who aren't very familiar with the artwork, this is the one and only American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And I think that ties it all in. And we'll see Cody Rhodes align himself with those 2 tag titles. And we'll get to see the beef that we were calling for before the injury, Roman and Cody Rhodes. And I think that's where it all falls down. Unless our boy Randy come out the woodwork, and that's a whole different storyline for you. That's a whole other thing.
What you think, Todd?
So you were shaking your head no, Todd. What's your problem, man? What's up?
So I like the Sami Zayn with Kevin Owens thing. That actually is pretty good, especially with his big thing about conspiracy. He's a conspiracy guy. I think when it comes down to it, the bloodline's going to break up because Roman's done. He wants to go act or whatever. He's going to end up doing that. So on screen, I don't know if you could keep the bloodline without Roman. Maybe have somebody else take over. When it comes to bloodline, honestly, I like Solo. He's one of my favorite ones of the group. I think Solo's real good. Once you see him more, I saw him in NXT a little bit. And then they have other guys they could bring in, like Jacob Fatu. Jacob's pretty good too, and he's a bigger guy. So I don't know.
He's still an MLW, huh?
Yep.
He's a good talent too. I don't think he would fit Roman's shoes. I mean, he doesn't wear shoes at the ring, so no pun intended. But what you gonna say, Tim?
No, I don't think you see the bloodline without Roman.
No.
I don't ever think that. But I've made the comment multiple times about factions, and great factions have the rise, they have the fall, and then they have the rebounds, right? So I agree, Todd. Roman's ready to be done. Doesn't mean forever. That's the one thing. He might take a year hiatus, but he will be back. And I think now I'm not an NXT guy. But correct me if I'm wrong. The Rock's daughter was just introduced, right?
Yeah, she was.
So you give her time to get built. All of a sudden, she's making women title runs, and Roman comes back. He's making men title runs. And all of a sudden, we have all the gold again, except for this time we have all the gold because Solo was doing his own thing, right? So he's going to have one of the mid titles. You got Jim and Jay who can have the tag team titles again, and then you got the Rock's daughter who has the women's. Now you really are the best in the industry. the best, and that's that rise again. That's what I think capitalizes on the greatness of a faction. And there's only been one or two that haven't had to do that, but they played the split up properly. They didn't need to, which
Right.
Evolution being one. Made sense, right? All three of those superstars were way better single anyhow. So it made sense when they broke up. They didn't need another re-rise. They didn't need that. The bloodline, don't get me wrong, Jimmy and Jay are great. They don't need it. But when it comes to the bloodline itself as a storyline, that rebound is needed. You have to have we fell off, but now we're back and now we're even better. And that's where I think I don't know her name. I won't lie to you. I don't know her name.
Yeah, I don't either. The Rock's daughter.
That's what's your name?
Yeah,
It's like something.
I think that's where she ties in and was like, we're back and we're better. So
That's a good
that's
one
all.
too. I just think that I agree because you've always brought that up about the rise and fall and the rebound. Uh, with the bloodline, I just think that if it's done, if he doesn't come back, then of course I don't see no one else taking charge. The bloodline is not going to be the bloodline if you don't have the head of the table. My thing about the breaking up, like I agree with all the stuff you said. I honestly think Cody Rhodes is one, Randy Orton's the other, but I also see The Rock come in for his WrestleMania match with him. I really think that might be a thing. There's room, but yeah, I get what you're gonna go with this, but there is rumors out there that he's already cleared his whole schedule from December on to April. So we might see that. We don't know. I don't know about it. I'm just saying, if you really want to be called the head of the table, you need to put a stamp by beating the person that's been the head of the table. You know what I mean? I think that's like the nail on the head for the whole thing.
And that's where I think
you got to let Roman go over though,
Yeah.
because the WWE's got to stop with the part timers. I think that hurts them so bad.
and that's what I was about to say, right? I think the problem with that is we're talking about the fall of the bloodline. If that's the storyline, if that's the case, we're getting Roman versus The Rock. The bloodline's got another 2 years. I mean, he just beat the. You know what I mean? Like that's you start talking.
Oh yeah, you're right.
If he goes to Mania and beats The Rock, who the hell on your roster is going to beat him?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like the only other person we haven't really spoke on him very much. It all depends on what they do with that Wyatt 6 stuff that's going on right now, which we talking about a little bit. So we'll get into that a little.
That's actually a good segue.
Later.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Because that's the topic next. His Bray Wyatt coming back. You know, I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. I love every promo he's ever cut since NXT. The thing about this one though, when he did his first promo, I want y'all reactions on that. Like, what did you take from this? And since he's been doing promos since then, it's just been giving me like thoughts like, what is going on? Is he fighting his old self? Is he fighting temptations from his depression when he was gone? Like, there's so much spinning in my head. I want to see what y'all think about it.
Go ahead, Todd.
I'm lost when it comes to Bray. I think it's a great character. I think there's a lot of stuff they still got to figure out with him, whether he's a face, heel, anti-hero, which anti-hero might be the best bet with him. This dude's going to be fighting himself more than I think he is other people. I like his promos. I would shorten them just a tad bit sometimes. I feel like they're just overdrawn. But as a whole, I'm real interested to see who these other characters are. I knew there was rumors of his brother coming back and all kinds of stuff. So I just like to see the future of where it goes.
Bo Dallas.
Yeah, this is one of those subjects that I've unfortunately read too many articles. I don't know what's happening, but there's so many good conspiracies that I'm completely like, yo, I don't know what's about to happen anymore. And I think that's great. That is perfect for his type of character. That is perfect for WWE because every week I'm trying to figure out, hey, what was the promo? What happened? What hint did we get? You know, every little thing, every little detail. I think I read into this. It makes sense to me. But unfortunately, I read into it, and it almost seems like Us had talked about he's fighting with himself, his past demons. And I think that's the route they're going because he made his last promo this last Friday. He made the comment, sometimes my other selves bring me to a dark place that I can't escape, was one of the things that he said. And that to me was, I can't control my personalities, which comes in the White 6, But I think the only tidbit on that was, like you said, there's a lot of rumors about Bo Dallas. Uncle Howdy kind of sounds like Bray, but I wouldn't be surprised if Uncle Howdy was actually Bo.
I actually read something.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to cut you off, just so we're on that point. I actually read something that Uncle Howdy is actually supposed to be the one that was in WCW for a long time, Wyndham, the bigger guy.
His dad. That's his dad, right?
Is it Barry?
Barry Windham.
Yeah, that was actually something I read earlier today, that Uncle Howdy could be that persona of Barry Windham.
Yeah, yeah. I also read another article that somebody said that Uncle Howdy in one of the cuts had the same earring that Bo was wearing before he left WWE. So it's like, I don't know where they're going with it, and I think that's why it's so great, because no one knows. Everybody's just throwing out guesses, conspiracy theorists, like, oh, I think it's this because he licked his lips 3 times, and that's what's his name did. It's that
fucking
deep,
love
bro.
it, man. I love it.
It's great. It is absolutely great. I think one of the main things I always said about Bray, and I think it's not a knock against him, but the hard thing with Bray is it's main title or nothing. I don't ever see Bray carrying a mid-card title and it being worth a damn. Nothing against him. It's just he's too big of a star. It'd be like if Roman dropped the main titles right now and went and got the Intercontinental. That makes 0 sense. He's too big of a star. And I'll be honest with you, up until Bobby carried the United States title, Rollins wouldn't have been able to carry that title, and it makes sense. But Bobby did such a good job with it that it was okay once he beat him to take it. Now they're building that title up. That's what this all is. They're just trying to build it up so that way it's more prestigious. I know we didn't put this on the schedule, but since we're talking about mid-card titles, I also like what they're doing with the Intercontinental title with Gunther. I think I'm not a big fan of Gunther, but I like what they're doing with it. It makes sense. It's not just jumping hands every other week. I like it. But back to Wyatt, I think he is going to at some point clash with the bloodline. The problem is, unless those other 6 personalities are real people, he's gonna have a hell of a time fighting the bloodline and himself. Like how you fight yourself and the bloodline, bro? Like that. I don't know how it works, So I'm really interested to see where they're going. And I love that we're all still in the dark. Nobody knows anything, right? It's been 3 weeks of just cryptic ass messages. No one knows. I kind of got sidetracked with because I'm so in love with the storytelling. But you asked the question, Noose, what we thought about his first promo. That first promo wasn't a wrestler, bro. That was just straight up him as a person. And I love that they did that because that plants the seeds, right? Here I am as this person. The next week comes out as Bray. Who do we see next week? Do we see The Fiend? Do we see Uncle Howdy? Who do we see? No, Nobody knows, right? I think it's amazing storytelling, and it's great. I can't wait for it to unfold in front of us. And everybody like, yo, I didn't see that coming. Oh my God. And then we get to see finally the return to the ring of Bray Wyatt.
But they need to let him be a monster this time. No losing to Goldberg or anything stupid like that. Just let him go and destroy people like he should be.
Yeah. I fucking didn't like that shit
either. You know who the credit for all this is? Let's segue, baby. Let's segue. That boy.
I'm telling you, listen, I'm going to tell you like this. I'm glad, everything's just like flowing right now. But I want to talk about Triple H and his takeover, right? You're seeing Triple H people come back. Karrion Kross is back. The OC's back. Bray Wyatt's back. Braun Strowman came back. There's a lot of people
Austin Theory's a nobody again.
He's a nobody. Like you see all these people come back that we all like. There's also rumors, if you don't want to read it, that's fine. But there's also rumors that Aleister Black might come back because he was a Triple H guy. There's a lot of people, and I want you to tell me, Ty, why you shook your head after I say this. There's a lot of things that he's doing right now that is hitting on all cylinders. He needs to get rid of freaking Judgment Day, but everything else is clicking. Like, everything is clicking. NXT's back to his... I never liked 2.0 at all. I never liked that brand. Now he's back. He got the black and gold brand back. It still has the 2.0 feel, but... Yo! Todd, just let me know about that. Why'd you shake your head?
So the thing with Aleister Black, dude, I'm a huge fan of Aleister Black, Malachi Black, whichever it is. I know he stepped away from AEW I think he was having some mental issues, coming off injury. I think he was having a little bit of issues. I think I think it just depends on how they push him. I think WWE, he was great in NXT. He went to the main brand, it didn't work.
Right.
He went to AEW, it started out good, didn't work. Then it's like nobody knows how to push him. You just got to it's like Kevin Owens. You let Kevin Owens go be Kevin Owens. You got to do the same thing with like Aleister Black. Definitely agree with the NXT thing. I was a big fan of Black and Gold. I stopped watching when they went back to the 2.0.
That was trash.
And before Triple H took over, I stopped watching WWE for the most part. Triple H, for me, A+. It's been a lot better since it's been a lot more watchable since he came back. I'm curious to see how he's going to do with guys like Johnny Gargano, who are just small in general.
I'm a fan.
And he is smooth, but I don't know how they'll use him.
Yeah, I think with Alistair, and I think Lewis, I've talked to you about it. I think once before. I think one of the comments you made might have been with Todd actually, but I think it might have been with you. I'm not real sure. One of you made the comment about his relationship with his wife. Right?
That was me.
I think it was yes. I think it was you thought he took a step away from wrestling because of his relationship. He wasn't trying to Tom Brady that. Anyhow, there's this. You know I got to throw my jabs. But anyhow, I actually think that Alistair stepped away from AEW is because of injury, right? I don't think that he has been fully cleared to compete at the level that he's capable of. And that goes back to the mental health thing, right? Because he wants to perform at this level and he's not capable and he's not being able to be himself in the ring, which, I mean, think about it. The last 2 months while he was on TV with AEW, he never fought anybody. He would get in the ring and watch his guys beat everybody up and just stand there. Him and Sting would chase each other out of the stadium back and forth. Like, there wasn't no real beefing going on. And Todd, you're the one that pointed me in that direction when I asked you that one time about him and Sting, just having that face on. What the hell is that all about? Like, the icon Sting throws blows. Why aren't we seeing it? And you made the comment, I don't think he's clear. I think that's the truest statement made. I don't think that he is himself, that he'll ever be himself. And I don't think he knows how to properly adjust that, and that's why he stepped away. Now, it is a timing thing where it kind of seems like, hey, H is in charge. He's bringing all these people back. Now, all of a sudden, Black took a step back from AEW. But I honestly just think it was exactly what he said in his letter. I'm just not feeling like myself. I need a mental rebuild. I need to figure out what's going on with me. And I think that's true. I think he's lost right now. He don't know what to do. Overall, I think Triple H is doing a great job. The only thing I will say is I think a little bit of it deals with the fans, right? Some fans just automatically is like, no, not to you, Todd, but you weren't even watching WWE before Triple H came. How would you even know what it was actually doing, you know? And that's not a knock to you, you know? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying a lot of fans get wrapped up in stuff a little too much. They get a little caught in the kayfabe, like, oh, Vince, F Vince, you know, because he's the worst, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, I feel the same way about Vince than I feel about the President of the United States, right? Yeah, they're the head dude in charge. There's a bunch of layers in between that to actually make the calls. So it's Triple H is doing a great job. I think he's a fresh breath of air for a lot of fans who have been around. We're seeing, you can see week to week there is a transition, but it takes time.
Absolutely.
Right? I think this conversation is just a little too early. I think right now we think everything is really good with Triple H. I want to see when he full blown, all of Vince's guys, all of Vince's ideas and schematics are way out the way, and we are just seeing the Triple H show. And then
we're slowly seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And absolutely, that's why I said I don't want to take a knock on him. I think he is doing great. I just think it's still too early to give him full credit. Which is why we still have guys like the Judgment Day. You couldn't just kill that faction; it was just built. You know, fans get upset, even though no one likes it. Like, well, what did they do? They just built. It's the same thing when they put Edge in and took him out 3 weeks later. Everybody was pissed about that, rightfully so. But I think that was an H move, looking out for his guy, because I don't think Edge wanted to do it. So I think that was H looking out for his guy, getting him out of there, and fans were upset about it, which I don't know why, because it was trash anyhow. So it's just one of those things to where he is making great moves, and I think we're going to see a great product with him at the Realms. I just think we're too early. That's all.
Yeah, so I agree. I'll leave my opinion on that away on the side. But like I was saying, yeah, slowly but surely you're seeing a lot of the Triple H people come back into the fold. Who else do you think would come back that is not there right now? There's a lot, right? Because I'm a huge Aleister Black fan, and I want him back on the brand. But Todd, you absolutely hit it. He wasn't being utilized right on that main roster. He was an NXT guy for sure, but I just don't. Who else do you see making that move? Especially because we're gonna talk about this AEW's injuries, suspensions. Like they've been on a stale decline to me. But who do y'all see coming to the WWE in return?
I think Andrade will be back. I don't think it's going to help anybody because I just don't think he's as good. Me and Tim talked about that before. His brother or whatever, Roosh, is 10 times better than he is.
Ooh, Roosh is really good, yes.
Yeah. Andrade, I think, will go back. I mean, Charlotte's there. Charlotte's injured. Talk about injuries. I mean, I actually did a lot of research on that. WWE has as many injuries going on as AEW for the most part.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not big on returns. I don't think we see very many more. Like the returns we've seen, these guys were free agents, right? Like they weren't really tied down to a company. And as much as wrestling fans knock on AEW, and I don't understand it because there's a good product over there, but those guys that are in AEW, they don't want to leave for the most part. You have like Andrade and maybe Aleister just because of his relationship with Triple H. Like when it comes to like the main stars over there, like Mox don't want to leave because he knows he's not going to get that push. He's not going to get that freedom like he does in AEW. He made it known when he left. I left because I wasn't getting freedom in my storytelling. I wasn't getting that, and he's way the hell over there. He'd be an idiot to come back. I think Daniel Bryan could. I don't see him wanting to.
No, he don't want to.
I think he's happy there. He's at peace there. You know, I don't think Claudio comes back. I think he's just at that point in his career. There's no sense of him coming back. I wouldn't be mad if he did. I just don't think it makes sense.
I'm happy for him there because they're utilizing him.
Oh, I love Claudio.
Yeah, because I was a big fan, but he was never being used correctly.
There's one guy I forgot about. I think he's on his way. I think there's one guy on his way back to WWE, and I forgot about it to just this very moment. But I think we will see Miro Rusev.
Oh yeah,
come back to
WWE.
He doesn't.
I think
he's not being used in AEW.
Yeah,
because he's not being used.
That's the one. That's the debut. I'm not debut. Return. That's the one right there. Rusev Day comes back.
Why is nobody pushing him? He didn't get pushed that well in WWE either.
I mean, he did. It was stale at the end.
It was he needed to step away. His thing was a combination, right? His character itself was getting stale. And they didn't want to change it from Rusev Day because fans loved Rusev Day. And then he had a lot of injuries too. And that's a major thing. Like, that's the same thing with he's older for that industry, right? He's older. Like he had his major run, his major push. It's hard to put you back in that position once you've been beat. When your original push was just you were unbeatable, right?
Yeah.
So once you've been beat a few times, it's hard to make you have that push again. Like, yo, dude just beat him 2 months ago. What are we talking about? You know, so it's hard to do that. But I think if he's capable of doing it, I don't know the contract details with the Miro personality, but I'd like to see him coming to WWE as the Redeemer. I think it's a fresh breath of air, and it's something we can see. Him and Bray could have a great beef. Like, if he wasn't already aligned with them, because I talked about that too, and I meant to talk about the Wyatt Six thing, but I could see Dexter, Karrion Kross aligning themselves with Wyatt and having that action. Like it would. Like I think their personalities, the way they go about things, fit Bray, and I think if you bring the Redeemer back and you pair him with them, I'm okay with it. But I'm also okay if you come back and the Redeemer is just kind of how AEW was doing with Aleister Black and Miro. I'm here to take you out because I see my God. You know that whole Redeemer thing. Like, okay, Bray, you want people to walk with you. I don't want to walk with you. I've met my God. I'm going to destroy you, and I'm okay with that. I think that's one of the major returns. But outside of that, I think the guys who were there like it there and don't want to leave, and I hope that never happens. I hope AEW doesn't go under like I'm getting a lot of WCW vibes right now with that damn business, and it's unfortunate, but because I enjoy their product, right? I don't always like their storytelling because there's not much of it, but when it comes to the
The matches
performances
are good.
Matches are
on a
real
weekly
good.
basis, I like it. It's really good. So I hope that the downfall isn't happening, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on over there.
And that's why
A
we're
lot of
talking
weird.
about it. That's why we're talking about it. Is the injuries, the suspensions with CM Punk and the Bucks and Kenny. Like, come on, like a lot of like Kenny, they have a great product if they know how to utilize it right. For me, it's like you bought Ring of Honor. You're barely utilizing that platform. That should be your NXT type of thing. Let's build our stuff through ROH. But instead, they just put those titles on AEW. Let that be its own show. You get like ROH is something that I think they're not taking seriously right now, and it's gonna be one of those things like, man, we should, because those belts have legacy if you guys think about it. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, you name it, Moxley, they all wore that title before. That has a lot of legacy. The Pure title, all these good ROH titles, they should bring that back just to help, because right now, to me, I don't know. They do what you're saying. They do great with in-ring work, but just storytelling, like I don't know. It gets annoying watching it. Like a lot of this stuff, like I just don't get a lot of the things they're doing. There's too many belts too. Like I get what you said about Raw and SmackDown. That, you have to have that because how big it is. But like, bro, Atlantic belt, you have the like TV. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is the Atlantic? Is that supposed to be equivalent to like the Intercontinental title? Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know. Y'all talk to me about that.
Their mid card titles are horrible. I
Yeah.
agree with that completely. They need to figure them out. Uh, but if you notice, AEW pushes tag teams well. Like their tag team division's great. The trios tag, I love that. And then when it comes to their big title, you're not going to see a Jinder Mahal win that. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
like it. I like the way they push it.
Yeah, I like AEW's product. I mean, I touched on that already. I think the biggest thing with AEW is they need to separate their talent from their behind the scenes stuff, right? Like it's just like WCW. Like Hogan and Nash were calling all the shots for themselves, and I don't think the elite is that way. But I think as a locker room, as another performer, you feel that way, right?
Right.
Especially some guys like Ethan Page. Like I know Todd, you've made the comment you want to see Ethan Page get more airtime. As an Ethan Page guy, I'm sitting back and watching the elite, the young bucks, go every week and get these good shots. Why am I not in this picture? Like you're a VP, bro. Be a VP. Stop wrestling. Like you got to
The
figure
only
it out. You
difference
can't.
is he knocked out BJF last week.
And I think that's yeah, right, yeah. But I think that's the big knock on AEW currently is there's no separation between operations and the wrestlers, and that's what's causing all these problems that we're seeing, right? Which once again, I think it's a great product. I'd like to see that get straightened out and fixed because I don't. I agree with most people, right? Competition is good. I don't think that they're a real threat to WWE by any means, but I think it's a good wrestling is good no matter what, right? I don't care where I see it as long as it's good wrestling.
Right.
So, and I just think they have an overflux of talent, which is just because there's not very many places to go, right? I think a lot of people would rather be stateside than New Japan because you have to live in another country to perform there. It's not everybody's idea, right? So I think that's why we have such an overflux of guys who either
Look at
one
my
couldn't
phone.
make it in WWE because of booking, whatever it may be, or guys who
It's
just
there.
don't want to be there, like
Give
Fox
it.
and
Give
Brian
it a match.
Daniel. So they have nowhere else to go, so they automatically go to AEW, right? And I think the TV time isn't long enough. I think they need 2 2-hour shows to actually
Or
give that time
or
to the fans.
utilize ROH.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah,
that a
for
show.
yeah,
Make
I
that a
agree.
show.
Yeah, you're right, and I think the injuries is so the main thing right now is the hottest thing right now. The suspensions, man. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Punk is done. We'll never see Punk in a ring again. I honestly believe that, which is fine with me because I didn't like his last run anyhow. It was not the Punk that we had with WWE. This one was old. We could tell he was old. I didn't really care for it. I was pumped when he first came back,
Here,
but it just wasn't.
go.
It wasn't Punk. So,
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of rumors about them trying to buy out his contract too. CM Punk.
yeah, which is
And
they just
anything
didn't
that
cut
keeps Kenny
ties.
Omega out of the ring, I don't like. Kenny Omega needs to be in there. That dude is nasty.
Yeah, that's fine. And there's a lot of hints on AEW about the Elite coming back, which there is, but there isn't to me because it almost the vignette that we've seen what was that last week, right? Where they had the Young Bucks disappearing, being erased from AEW, and at the very end, the E disappears in the AEW. Now, I take that one of two ways, right? One, there's no AEW without the Elite, which is I think the way they're going with it. Or two, the Elite is departing AEW, right? Like I don't know where they're going with that, but I mean, I think my first gut feeling is that where they're going with it is there's no All Elite without the Elite, which is true because once again you have no separation between your VPs and your wrestlings. But I think that's what's causing. I'm a little too harsh on the Young Bucks.
You are. You definitely are.
I'm aware of it. I'm honest about it. I'm a little tough on those guys. They are talented. They are a very good tag team. I just don't care for them. I think there's better tag teams in the whole, and I think that's where I get my separate your operations from your wrestling. You don't need to wrestle because you have great talent. Go be a VP like you want to be. Go back there, book the show, do VP operations. Stop putting yourself in the rings. Stop putting titles on you. You have other guys who can carry it just as good, if not better, if you properly push them. So, and that's what I think All Elite is. I think All Elite is at that position where they're in a position to be very, very good promotion.
Yes.
They just need to figure out their kinks. And they need to get a better fucking health doctor over there. Because come on, man. Everybody's hurt every damn week. Like, stop it.
I actually Go ahead, Todd.
We're talking about injuries, right?
Yep.
So I actually did my research on this one. And we're talking about mid-card, no jobbers, right? We don't care if jobbers are hurt. Let's be honest. We just don't care for the most part.
Depending on who it is.
So obviously, the only thing that kind of worries me is they've had a couple concussion strings lately. Adam Cole and Adam Page both had a concussion. You've seen Adam Page's. That one was wicked. But most of these are basic injuries that I've seen at every level. WWE has them all the time. Stuff like torn labrums. The only thing that I also seen was weird was there's a lot of knee injuries in AEW. I don't know how common that is. You guys would probably know better than me. But I do see a lot of knee injuries. O'Reilly's injury is a built-up one. He had to get his neck fused. That's not something that just happened in AEW. That's been over time. And then WWE has 10 bigger names that are injured too, just like AEW does. They got The Miz on their injury list right now. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Which is weird because I just watched The Miz at the last. Actually, he was on SmackDown this last week, and I watched him at that event that I went to 2 weeks ago. So it's weird.
You definitely saw Cody Rhodes fight for a title with a big ass bruise on his chest. So these guys don't care. They
But I will tell you this: that only happened for one specific reason. That's just the build up for when he returns, right? The Miz is in no major storyline, so there was no reason for him to be fighting, right? So, but
Kenny Omega carried the AEW title for months with a torn labrum, and then he had another injury too, which I think was a knee injury.
And that's what I was going to say was I think the problem with the AEW injuries is it's all their top guys are hurt all the time.
That's
like,
really what it is.
WWE has one or two top guys here and there, like at the same time. AEW feels like most of the main stars at the same time. Like it's
what top guys are hurt?
What's that?
What top guys are hurt in AEW?
Adam Cole,
Page is hurt.
Adam Page.
Yeah. Okay.
You got O'Reilly out.
Kenny Omega's not fully
healthy.
So
yeah, he's not fully healthy. O'Reilly's out. O'Reilly's out. Aleister Black's out.
Aleister Black's actually not listed on their injury report though.
Well, that's because he's not. He took a step away. He was hurt.
You don't
put him on the report.
It was a lower back, right? It was like a lower back injury or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. And he had to get some discs fused or something. He was talking about retiring.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of talks that Mox is actually currently hurt carrying the title. The problem is
Mox is hurt.
Sure. I mean,
it's not because it's just his style. You know what I mean?
Get it?
No, I get it. But I'm just saying, I think that's the knock on the business is that when you look at it, you're like, your top guys are always hurt, and why is that? I think it goes back to just their mid-carder guys don't get enough
Oh.
airtime.
What do you
So
mean?
your top guys never get to fully recover. Like Kenny coming back for the Trios Championship. I don't think that was necessary. I think we could have left Kenny off the card, had somebody else win for now, and then he come back when he was fully healthy. Instead, you rushed him back, put him in a situation he didn't need to be in, and I get it. As a fan base, you want to see the elite in that type of situation performing. I get it. No, you do. You do want to see that. I mean, let's be honest. What?
Just Kenny. I don't care about the Young Bucks. I agree with you.
I'm
They
saying
need
when
to
you're
step
talking about the
behind the back.
trios thing, right? You're talking about the trios thing. The Young Bucks and Kenny make a great trios team. I'm not gonna sit here and say they don't. So when you have a competition like that, you want to see those guys performing. So like, I get it. Like it's one of those things to where AEW needs to figure out, like, how do you use your mid carders a little bit more to take a little off of your top guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want to shit on AEW because I think the production is very great. I think it's a good promotion. I don't want to shit on. I don't want to make this a shit fest on AEW.
Oh,
by any
definitely
means.
not.
I'm
Definitely
not that
not.
type of guy. 'Cause I'm not that type of guy. I know it sounds like that, like all my angles to like currently, but that's not where I stand. I recommend AEW to my WWE friends all the time. Like, hey, check this out. Like, oh, I can't get into it. It's too slow. It's too boring. And that's because there's no storylines. I'm like, yeah, but it's the matches you were there for. You watch those a couple weeks, you start tying story. The problem with AEW is storytelling is it's not as obvious and out in the open. It's week to week matches, little subtle things that happen that all of a sudden we're matched up for this fight, and it's not actually talked about or actually discussed.
Like I was saying with AEW, they got it right for the most part when it comes to these titles. Even though it's like, man, you have a lot of titles, like the FTW Hook. Like I don't even care about that title, but you got the All Atlantic Champion, right? It's I guess equivalent to the IC title. Have it or Cassidy hold it, but you hit it, Todd. When it comes to AEW, the Acclaimed is well over right now, like beyond over right now as a tag team. Uh,
Great.
How do they make Billy Gunn relevant again? That's crazy.
Daddy ass.
It was easy.
It only worked
It
once.
was too easy, bro. Like they literally didn't even have to try. They
Yeah.
I'm
literally
saying
just
that's the only place it works.
All I
Is with
need,
the
look, the only thing I have a beef is all I need is them to take ROH serious, make that a brand of its own. They have every title has someone great, like your television title Samoa Joe, your pure title, which is the next group, Sammy Guevara and himself, Daniel Garcia, taking this all elite to another level when they get into their primes. Like, oh, especially that pure title. If you guys don't know, like it's y'all know the stipulations when you hold that title. There's like no striking at all. It's pure wrestling, like grappling.
Okay.
That's just pretty cool. I didn't know that. I didn't understand it until I looked into it. They both AEW and ROH have trios tag titles, so there you have it with the rosters, knowing that you have titles in both. I just think they're not using this ROH thing, and I think this will make them even better. Like you said, there's too much people on the AEW roster. You can just milk them into this roster. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't a fan with a lot of the ROH rosters, anyways. You know what I mean? You bring some of the people that you put on instead of having AEW Dark, you could just call it ROH or something. I don't know. Go ahead, Tim. You
now
said something.
Samoa only fights on ROH, right?
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I seen him on an AEW match.
Oh, I mean,
That's
fighting wise, you're right.
Oh.
He gets on the show because him and Wardlow are friends. You know what I mean?
yeah, but he don't ever fight. Yeah, he don't ever fight.
Yeah,
I
he
think
don't fight.
Strictly fights on Ring of Honor, and I think currently they're doing it for the storyline, but they need to get the title off of Jericho and let one of those other guys go to Ring of Honor and do that thing. But I don't like. Okay, so Todd made a comment the other day, and I told him to calm down with the JAS. Okay, so go ahead, Todd. Have your spill on that, and then I'll make my comments on how I feel about that whole situation.
JAS to me annoys the piss out of me.
Me
I
too.
like Jericho. I used to like Jericho. He needs to go help him backstage or something. He's slow in the ring now. Some of it's not believable. Daniel Garcia is a stud. The tag team guys, Parker and whatever the weird voice, that I can't handle those.
Sports
those two are too much.
entertainers.
Hager's never in the ring.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like JAS as a whole. I like Jericho, right? I think storytelling and the purposes of him being a heel, what he's doing with the Ring of Honor title is genius. But I think it goes back to what Lou said, and it shits on the business, and it doesn't do well when you go to make that. It will, because they'll let him lose to a face, and that face will take that title and launch it to the moon again. But it just, I think it makes perfect sense with what they're doing with him having it. I just don't think that he should have it anymore. I think it's time, because I agree. I think he needs to have less matches. He's old. We know he's old. He's been old, so I can't believe he signed a 5-year extension. That's nuts to me. Like, not to be with the business, but the intent of still wrestling. That's crazy. Like, I thought it was the end. That's what I thought the Ring of Honor title was his last hoorah. But I don't think that's the case anymore. And I don't know what they're doing with that. I think Garcia needs to get the hell away from the rest of those guys because, like you said, he's a stud. That guy, I was hard on him at first, too. I thought he was terrible. After watching that very first match between him and, was it Yuta? That match was great. And I think Yuta's coming along very well, too. But that match was insanely good. And, like, Garcia is the next guy, I think, in that business if they play their cards right. The problem is with JAS. In JAS, Jericho will always be the top guy. And you're holding down talent with that. I don't think it works. And so JAS needs to go. I think we're already seeing, which is unfortunate, the end of the Blackpool Combat Club. I don't think they haven't done much with it, but I think it's about done anyhow, which is unfortunate because I think it definitely could have had better angles and whatever it may be, but it seems to me that they don't. I think Brian's about to make a heel switch, which is fine, but it kills the Blackpool Combat Club, and I think they could have utilized it better. I mean, they're just not.
Man. Hey, well, I'm just happy, bro, that we finally could get this episode done. I've been begging the whole chat, Todd. You just got in there, but if you scroll, you'll see how much times I've been trying to get this out because I love talking wrestling with these fellas, but we just can never get our schedules on. Hey, Tim said 1300. I didn't care. I had to watch my kids. I was gonna get this episode. But look, fellas, man. Anyone that's new, like, comment, subscribe to the Subtle Flex podcast under the playlist of this show, the Figure 4 show. Fellas, we'll talk again anytime we have time. So we'll talk about the results of Crown Jewel, any other debuts and surprise. But, there's no telling with everyone's busy days, right? So I'll talk to y'all boys later. I'm going to start editing, getting this over. I'm enjoying the Patriots losing right now. But appreciate y'all coming on, and I'll give you a shout out when the next episode is going to be.
Yep.